Into the small and beautiful village of Kosong, there lived a king and queen named King Obiora and Queen Ada. They were loved by all the people because they ruled with kindness and wisdom. One bright and sunny day, they welcomed a baby boy into their family. They named him Prince Milton. The whole village was filled with joy and celebration. People sang, danced, and clapped their hands. "Our future king is here," they cheered. Little Milton was very special because he would one day sit on the throne and lead the people of Kosong. But there was something else special about Prince Milton. Even before he could talk, a decision was made for him. According to the village's old customs, every prince had to marry a girl from the village. So, the king and queen chose a sweet little girl named Tatiana, who was born on the same day as Milton. One day, they will grow up and be married, the wise elders said. This will keep the royal family close to the people. Everyone agreed, and Tatiana's family was very proud. The years passed, and Milton grew into a happy and curious boy. He loved running through the green fields, listening to the village's stories, and learning from his teachers. Everyone could see that he was very smart. "Our prince is so clever," the villagers said. "He will make a wise king one day." And so, Prince Milton's journey to becoming a leader began, but no one could have guessed the adventures and choices that awaited him in the years to come. As Milton grew older, his curiosity only deepened. He loved asking questions about the world beyond Kosong. "Father," he would ask, "what is life like in other lands? Do they have kings like us?" King Obiora would smile proudly and say, "My son, the world is vast and full of wonders. One day, you'll see it for yourself." Milton's intelligence quickly became evident to everyone around him. His teachers marveled at how quickly he understood complex lessons. He excelled in mathematics, history, and even the ancient traditions of their people. But Milton wasn't just book smart. He was kind-hearted, always helping his friends and neighbors. "Our prince is destined for greatness," the villagers would say. "He will make Kosong proud." When Milton completed his studies in the village, King Obiora and Queen Ada knew it was time for him to learn more about the world. "Milton," his mother said one evening as they sat under the stars, "we are so proud of you. Your father and I have decided to send you abroad to study. You will learn new things and bring back knowledge to help our people." Milton's eyes lit up with excitement. "Thank you, Mother. Thank you, Father. I promise to make you proud." The entire village gathered to bid farewell to their beloved prince. They brought gifts, woven baskets, handmade clothes, and delicious food to show their love. As Milton boarded the carriage that would take him to the city, he waved and called out, "I will return soon and make Kosong greater than ever." The journey to the city was long and filled with new sights. Milton marveled at the bustling markets, tall buildings, and people from different cultures. When he finally reached the university, he felt a mix of excitement and nervousness. At first, everything felt strange. The food, the people, the language, and even the way people dressed were different. But Milton was determined to adapt. He made friends quickly, sharing stories of Kosong and listening to tales from their homelands. One day, as he walked through the library, he bumped into a young woman with sparkling eyes and a warm smile. Her name was Kara, and she was from a faraway land called the Philippines. Kara was studying cultural anthropology and was fascinated by Milton's stories of Kosong. "Your village sounds so beautiful," she said. "I would love to visit it someday." Milton found himself drawn to Kara's kindness and curiosity. Over time, their friendship grew deeper. They spent hours talking about their dreams, their families, and the future. Milton realized he had found someone special, someone who understood him in a way no one else ever had. As the years passed, Milton excelled in his studies and fell deeply in love with Kara. He knew she was the one he wanted to spend his life with. One evening, under the twinkling city lights, he took her hand and said, "Kara, will you marry me?" Tears filled Kara's eyes as she nodded. "Yes, Milton, I will." Milton's heart was full, but he knew there was one more step to take. He needed to bring Kara home to Kosong and introduce her to his family. Little did he know, this decision would change everything. Milton's return to Kosong village was a momentous occasion. The village had eagerly awaited the arrival of their prince, who had been away for many years. News of his return spread quickly, and the people prepared a grand celebration. The drummers practiced their beats, the dancers rehearsed their moves, and the cooks worked tirelessly to prepare a feast fit for royalty. Milton arrived with Kara by his side. She was dressed in a modest but elegant gown, her eyes wide with wonder as she took in the beauty of the village. "It's even more beautiful than I imagined," she whispered to Milton. "Welcome to my home," Milton said, holding her hand tightly. He hoped his family would see Kara the way he did, as someone kind, intelligent, and worthy of love despite her color and belief. The royal court gathered to greet Milton. King Obiora and Queen Ada stood at the entrance of the palace, their faces lighting up as they saw their son. But their smiles faded when they noticed Kara. "Who is this?" King Obiora asked, his voice filled with curiosity and a hint of displeasure. "Father, mother," Milton began, "this is Kara, the woman I love. She has come to meet you and learn about our traditions." The queen's eyes softened, but the king's expression remained stern. "Milton, we need to talk," he said firmly. Later that evening, Milton approached his father to seek his blessings for the union. King Obiora, however, was adamant in his refusal. "It is against our customs, Milton," he said sternly. "You were betrothed to Tatiana from birth. She is the rightful queen-to-be of Kosong." Milton was shocked. He had never been told of this arrangement. "Father, times have changed. Shouldn't love and happiness matter more than tradition?" But the king was resolute. "A foreign woman cannot understand our ways. She will not make a suitable queen." Kara, overhearing the conversation, was devastated. She had hoped to be accepted and loved by Milton's family. Instead, she felt like an outsider. Embarrassed and heartbroken, she decided to return abroad, believing her presence only caused trouble. Milton tried to comfort her, but her tears broke his heart. "I'll fight for us," he promised. But Kara shook her head. "I don't want to come between you and your family. If they cannot accept me, how can I ever belong here?" When Kara left Kosong, Milton felt as if a part of him had been torn away. He stood at the edge of the village, watching her disappear down the winding road. His heart ached as he thought about her tears, the sadness in her voice when she said goodbye. "I'm sorry, Milton," she had whispered, "but I can't stay where I'm not wanted." The days that followed were heavy with silence. Milton avoided his parents and spent hours walking through the village, trying to find a solution. He visited the wise elder, Chief Namdi, hoping for advice. "Chief," Milton began, "why must our customs be so rigid? Why can't I choose my own happiness?" The elder looked at him thoughtfully. "Traditions are the roots of our people, Prince Milton. They hold us together. But, like a tree, sometimes even roots must grow and change to survive." Milton nodded, though he still felt torn. Meanwhile, the village buzzed with gossip. Some people sympathized with the prince. "Why shouldn't he marry the woman he loves?" they murmured. Others clung to tradition, insisting that a foreigner could never understand their ways. Queen Ada, seeing her son's pain, decided to speak with the king. "Obiora," she said gently, "look at our son. He is hurting. Shouldn't we at least try to understand his heart?" King Obiora frowned, but remained firm. "I am protecting our traditions, Ada. Without them, who are we? And if our son walks away from all of this," she replied, "what will these traditions mean then?" The king didn't answer, but her words stayed with him. Meanwhile, Milton wrote letters to Kara, pouring out his feelings and assuring her that he would find a way for them to be together. Kara's replies were hesitant but hopeful. "I miss you, Milton," she wrote, "but I'm afraid. What if your family never accepts me?" Milton promised her that he wouldn't give up, but as time passed, the pressure mounted. The king announced that the preparations for Milton's wedding to Tatiana would proceed. The date was set, and the village began its preparations. Milton felt trapped. Tatiana, ever kind and understanding, approached him one evening. "Prince Milton," she said softly, "I know you don't love me, and I know your heart belongs to someone else, but I will do my duty if it means keeping peace in the village." Her words only made Milton feel worse. How could he go through with a marriage when his heart was somewhere else? He realized he had to make a choice, one that would change his life forever. As the wedding date drew closer, the tension in the palace grew thicker. Milton avoided his father whenever possible, and their once warm conversations turned into cold exchanges. The villagers whispered about the prince's unhappiness, but the preparations continued as if nothing was wrong. Milton spent hours in his room, writing letters to Kara and pacing back and forth. He couldn't imagine a life without her, but the weight of his responsibilities pressed heavily on his shoulders. One evening, Queen Ada knocked softly on his door. "Milton, may I come in?" she asked. He opened the door and stepped aside. "Mother, I can't do this," he said, his voice trembling. "How can I marry someone I don't love? How can I live a life that isn't mine?" Queen Ada sat beside him and placed a comforting hand on his shoulder. "My son, I see your pain, and I know your heart belongs to Kara. But your father, he fears that breaking tradition will weaken our family's bond with the people. He believes he is protecting the kingdom." Milton shook his head. "What is a kingdom without happiness? Without love?" The queen sighed. "Your father was raised to believe that duty comes before everything. But I believe love has its place too. Give me time, Milton. Let me speak to him again." Meanwhile, King Obiora stood firm in his decision. "I will not bend to emotions," he told Chief Namdi during one of their discussions. "The people look to us to uphold tradition. If we break this custom, what's next? Chaos." The chief stroked his chin thoughtfully. "But, Your Majesty, times are changing. The younger generation, they see the world differently. Shouldn't we adapt? If we cling too tightly to the past, we risk losing our children's trust." The king's face tightened, but he didn't respond. Deep down, he knew there was truth in the chief's words, but he was unwilling to admit it yet. Tatiana, too, felt the strain of the situation. Although she had been raised to believe she would one day marry Prince Milton, she couldn't ignore his unhappiness. She approached Queen Ada one afternoon as they worked on wedding plans. "Your Majesty," Tatiana said softly, "may I speak honestly?" Queen Ada nodded. "Of course, my dear. What is on your mind?" Tatiana hesitated, then spoke. "I don't want to force Prince Milton into this marriage. I can see that his heart belongs to someone else. And I think he deserves to be happy, even if it's not with me." The queen's eyes filled with compassion. "You are wise beyond your years, Tatiana, and you are kind. I will speak to the king again. Perhaps this time, he will listen." One evening, as the royal family gathered for dinner, a messenger arrived at the palace gates. He carried a letter addressed to the king and queen. It was from Kara. The letter was simple but heartfelt. "Your Majesties, I know I am an outsider to your customs and traditions, but I love your son with all my heart. I respect your ways and wish to learn them, not to change them. If you would allow me the chance, I promise to honor your family and your kingdom. Please, for the sake of Prince Milton's happiness, consider my plea. Sincerely, Kara." Queen Ada's heart softened further as she read the letter aloud. Even King Obiora seemed momentarily moved, though he quickly composed himself. "This does not change anything," he said gruffly, but his tone lacked the same conviction as before. As the days passed, Milton grew more restless. He knew he couldn't wait for his father to change his mind. On the eve of the wedding, he made his decision. He packed a small bag and wrote a note to his family. "Father, Mother, I cannot go through with this marriage. I love Kara, and I must follow my heart. I know this means I may lose my place as the heir, but I am willing to accept that. Please forgive me. Your son, Milton." With a heavy heart, Milton left the palace that night, determined to find Kara and build a life with her, even if it meant giving up his birthright. When the palace awoke the next morning, Milton was gone. His note lay on his neatly made bed, a final testament to his resolve. The household was in uproar. Servants ran back and forth, and messengers were sent out to search for him. But the prince had vanished without a trace. King Obiora held the note in his trembling hands, rereading his son's words. For the first time in years, he felt an unfamiliar sting in his chest. Regret. He walked to the window and looked out at the village. The people were bustling about their daily lives, unaware of the turmoil within the palace walls. Queen Ada entered the room quietly. She had spent the morning comforting Tatiana, who had handled the situation with grace but was clearly heartbroken. "Obiora," she said softly, "we must face the truth. Milton has made his choice. Is this kingdom worth losing our son over?" The king didn't respond immediately. Instead, he turned to face his wife, his expression a mixture of sadness and pride. "I thought I was protecting him, Ada, protecting the kingdom. But perhaps I was only holding on to my own fears. Milton is strong. He knows his heart. Maybe it is time I trusted him." Queen Ada placed her hand on his arm. "It is not too late to bring him back. He needs to know that we still love him, no matter what." King Obiora nodded slowly. That evening, he called for Chief Nambi. Together, they discussed the possibility of breaking tradition to honor Milton's decision. The chief, ever wise, said, "A leader must sometimes bend so his people do not break." The people love Milton. If you show them that love is stronger than tradition, they will follow your example. The king spent the night reflecting on those words. Memories of Milton as a young boy filled his mind. His laughter, his curiosity, his kindness. By morning, King Obiora had made his decision. The next day, King Obiora sent a message to Milton through a trusted messenger. The note read, "Son, I have wronged you by trying to force my will upon your heart. I see now that love is the greatest bond of all, and it is what makes a king truly strong. Come home, Milton. Bring Kara with you. You have my blessing. Your father, Obiora." When Milton received the message, he was overcome with emotion. He shared the news with Kara, who embraced him tightly. "Your father has a kind heart," she said. "He just needed time to see it." They returned to Kosong together, greeted by cheering villagers who had heard the news. King Obiora stood at the palace gates, his arms open wide. "Welcome home, my son," he said, his voice thick with emotion. "And welcome, Kara. You are now one of us." The reunion was filled with tears, laughter, and forgiveness. They later got married and moved back abroad. Kara resolved to learn and understand the customs and traditions of Kosong. She proved herself in the later years when her was made king that she was born a queen.